Hello. My name is Aniruddha. Welcome to this YouTube channel of mine. Today, I am going to be painting a Scaly-Breasted Munia, a common bird in most of South Asia. I started off my process by wetting down selective areas of the bird. Now I am in the process of putting down one big connected wash of different colors but a fairly similar value. Taking advantage of those pre-wet parts, I'm ensuring that the paint freely flows everywhere I want it to and dries in a nice and even way. As we proceed, I also wanted to say a thank you to the thousands of you who dropped in to check out the previous watercolor bird that I painted. I wasn't planning on putting out another similar video so soon, but your love and encouragement nudged me into making this one. So within this wash, I now want to start adding some variation of color, variation of soft and hard edges, and some variation which is subtle and some variation which is more obvious. Nice time to add some splashes and liven it up. You might have noticed that there's a rather ugly backwash forming in the throat of my Munia. Now when most new watercolorists see something like this happening, they tend to panic. But as long as your wash is still wet, you have ample time to fix it. My big shape is now on the paper, and what I'm doing is fine tuning it while it is still damp, adding paint in some areas and removing some of it from others. Next, I'm going to turn my attention to his beak and put down some simple shapes to indicate it. You might notice that the color I have chosen doesn't look like what you see in the reference image. Firstly, the reference image is just a starting point. I do take creative liberties. And secondly, I also need to be mindful of the fact that the color will dry not just lighter but also less saturated. My light values are now dry, so I will move on to the middle values. Again, wherever possible, I will try to keep the middle value family connected. Another term to describe the areas that I am currently painting is form shadow. Now, adding strength to these areas creates the illusion of shape, creates the illusion of volume, and makes our bird appear round and fluffy in nature. Something you'll see me do often is rotate my paper to put down strokes that are more comfortable to my hand. This isn't a very common practice among fine artists, but it is a very common practice among industrial designers, and that is where my background lies. I feel now is a good time to start adding tiny hints of the bird's marking, especially the markings which are being hit by the light. We'll put the markings in the shadow a little bit later because they will be of slightly darker value. Now, while those mid values are still damp, I want to start adding my family of darker values. This ensures that I have some nice smooth transitions in those shadowy regions. I'm following a very standard watercolor process, going from light to dark, going from big shapes to small shapes. And accordingly, you can see how the brushes that I'm now using are also much smaller in size. Not only that, the puddles on my palette as I've moved from layer to layer get progressively thicker. If you want to learn more about paint consistency, there's a video that might be of interest to you which has just popped up to the top right of your screen. The trick to getting these markings right is to not try to replicate them exactly how you see them in the reference. That would be a fool's errand. What you're trying to do is use those markings again to enhance that illusion of volume of the bird. Make it look like a round, fluffy ball of feathers. Now I'm going to replicate the process that we just did on the upper part of the bird. In the rump area, first I'm going to apply the middle value family and then move on to the family of darker values. Creating tails like the one you see here is a tricky proposition. There's always a risk of overworking it. So that's something I need to be conscious as I begin putting down my paint there. I might just try and use my fingernail to scratch out some marks there. it can't be one solid blob of color. There has to be a sense of direction, a sense of few linear marks there. Perhaps lifting some paint might give me that effect. Next, onto his eye. Here I'm going to put a flat round application of dark, leaving just a little bit of a ring around the eye. Then I'm going to come in with a dry brush and lift away some pigment, trying to give it an illusion of being circular. Then I'll come in with some white gouache and add a little highlight. And thus concludes another loose splashy watercolor bird. If you enjoyed this video, remember to do all the YouTube things, like, subscribe, and share it to any of your friends who might be interested. I will see you in the next one.